Brandon Sanderson, Cosmere, Mistborn, Stormlight Archives. So you probably have all heard this, and you've heard of Brandon Sanderson. You've probably heard of the Cosmere at this point. So I know when I first heard of the Stormlight Archives, I didn't know about the Cosmere or who Brandon Sanderson was. So there's a lot of books in this universe. It's basically a shared universe, kind of like the Marvel multiverse. And I know a lot of questions that I get are like, where do I start in this universe? So there's a couple of different places that you can start. So I personally started with Mistborn. So Mistborn is the first book of the first trilogy of the Mistborn universe. This is Brandon Sanderson's second published book, and you can actually see Brandon, really starting to get into his own and actually writing, and his writing improving, especially throughout the 3 books that he writes in this trilogy. And I would say this is a really good place to start, because it is it is a more concise set for the 3 books than if you're starting with Stormlight Archives. And so this will give you a complete picture with the story wrapping up very nicely, and you don't have any lingering questions. And there's very little in the way of like actually starting with the Cosmere afterwards, right? So this is all very self-contained, very little to do with the overarching universe. Other than that, if you wanted to, you could start with Elantris, which is Brandon's first published book ever. And I thought the book was pretty good. I would say it's probably like a 3.5 out of 5. It's, again, his first published book, so he obviously wasn't as good as he is now in terms of his writing style. This is currently the only book in the Elantra series. Brandon has said that he would like to write a second and third book, which he's going to work on in the next few years. So you could start with this book if you wanted to. I would recommend reading it after the Mistborn universe. Another one you could start with is Warbreaker, which is a self-contained book. Brandon has said that he is going to write a sequel to this, just not anytime soon. So for now, it is a self-contained book. Again, it's about 600 something pages, and it's all within its own world, completely separate. Again, very little to do with the overarching, or talking very little in terms of the actual Cosmere as a whole. And things in this book come into play later in different books, but in terms of just this book right here, it is a very good book. It is very the characters are well written, and the story is very good. So you could start with Warbreaker as well, just to give you an idea of how Brandon writes. And you can obviously start with Stormlight Archive. So as you can see, massive book. This is well over 1,000 pages, and this can be a little intimidating to people. So I don't typically recommend people start with Stormlight, especially because personally for me, the first 200 pages were very slow. It was very world building, getting to know the characters, and so I personally didn't or don't normally recommend people start with the Stormlight Archives, because I like people to understand that Brandon Sanderson is a very good writer, and there's a lot of things that he likes to do. There's things that are very popular called Sanderlanches, where at the end of his book is just a bunch of things that he's throwing at you, and all of the loose ends start to tie up. And so I usually tell people to read his other works before reading Stormlight. At least read the Mistborn trilogy. But again, it's up to you guys on how you want to read it. This starts pretty slow, but it builds up really well. The end of the book is phenomenal, and the next books in the series are great. So enjoy.